Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to be working in my book journal. So last year, if you remember, I had set up, this is just a happy planner notebook. I had set it up, look, I even have the thing still in here, as my book journal. I just skipped kind of these pages that were in the beginning that were like a little bit of a guided journal. Haven't really used them, and it's just a book of dot grid paper. I had used Mommy stickers, and I did the book covers for everything that I read in 2021. This was done on a 4x6 print, and I put 10 book covers per page, and that's how I got them to fit perfectly here. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the way this turns out. I love seeing the book covers. I just simply want to change it up for this year. I'm just forgetting one picture that I forgot to print here, so we'll see how it goes. And then I was doing reviews that I slowly stopped doing. So I do want to keep up with this because I did like print the book cover and everything, and then I never wrote down like the quotes or my review of it. But these were my 5 stars because that's what I was doing at first, which is like my 5-star per month. And there was always a few more than I thought I would have. So that's how I was doing it before, but clearly didn't stick with it. So this year I want to just change it up a little bit. So I started making already these little charts that I made to put in here. I cut them down from graph paper, etc., etc. So this is what I've read already in January. My only problem was, and that's why I changed them so you can see how I work through my process, is that it fit perfectly. So like right at the edge was cutting it off here, and the same here, even cut it off. So I reprinted them to shrink down the table itself a little bit, and then I just had the thought that I will definitely put the numbers on it, that way I can keep track on where I'm at. So my goal for the year is 60 books. So I have it printed with 75 just because the tables have 25 lines, so I just numbered it all the way through, and it's a little bit more shrunk. So we're going to put these in here as my opening pages. And you might be thinking like, well, are you not going to print the book covers? I totally still am. So my goal is to have it like as a spread first in here. So we're going to have like 1 through 50, and then we're going to turn the page and it'll be the 51 through 75. Then on this side, I have it already a little bit prepped. I just want to have a visual look of having these goals. So this is the one little word stamp set from Allie Edwards. And on top, I am trying to stamp out book goals. And I'm going to make this like my shelf page. I don't necessarily want to write the book names into the spines because is it still here? I did try that last year in another book when I first started reading. And it was just too tedious, and some spines didn't hold the title enough, and it was just a big old mess. So what I want to do here, and I'll take you through it, is just draw the books out themselves. I have my ruler and everything here. And then just have them numbered. That way, as I fill in, so right now I read 8 books in January, I'll just color it up so that you can have just a 1-page look at where I'm at, is what I'm trying to do here. So I'll show you that with you. Then what I want to do with the book covers is have a monthly spread. It'll be like a spread and a half. Well, depending on how it goes. So here I want to have like either January this way or maybe January this way, and then have all the book covers, per month. That way, as I see, it'll just be all of them that I read in that month. So some months might have more than others, and I'm okay with that. It just depends, on my reading. So at first I've printed them all out as 4x6 grids like this. So they were per book. So my problem was right now, as I've been playing with this before I filmed, was figuring out the spacing. So the thing is though, this size is a little bit too big. So if I have like all 8 books here, you can see where it's already going. Like there's no room to put any sort of like rating, like my star rating. It's just like a flat, complete page of book covers, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I could write them out here and say like 5-star, 4, whatever I thought of them. So I wasn't sure if I loved this, because then over here would just be January. Maybe do like your book, the stats for the month, like audiobooks, physical books, things like that. So what I'm thinking of is that I now did it again it's a little bit slanted. My printer is a little bit off. Is to have them as 8. So they're a little bit smaller. So now I didn't print 4 per page because 6 would have made them all 2 by 2 squares. And that's not what I want either because they're so rectangle. So I had to go for the 8 square or section photo. So that's where we're at because I need to have a place where I can be with the ratings. So actually, let's cut these down real quick and let's see if it actually works. Yeah, my printer is printing slanted. What is up with this? Okay. And I don't like how much this one got chopped off. I might have to reprint this again, but let's just, for the sake of doing a size thing and before I put you on fast forward to do all of this. So a few of the books that I've read, you can see the covers. My favorite book though is for the month will probably be 7 Days in June. This one was my favorite. It was just raw and real and just 2 damaged people that are trying to survive just in life. Like I was invested in the characters, you know, but I loved a lot of them. Like this one too, Always, Ever After Always. This one was really good too. It's like the 3rd book in like a series. I haven't read any of the series. I just started with this one. And it's like, if you like a marriage in trouble, that's what you'll get from there. And it was just different to read about. And this one too printed awful. So yeah, the worst book was The Family. That book was terrible. I thought I was going to read like a mafia book. It was not a mafia book, this one. Oh my God. It was just so boring. Okay. So here's where I'm at with like our 8 books now. So it's like this. So at least I have space underneath them to write a rating. So yeah, this will work out better. I'm definitely gonna have to reprint that photo though, because like this one's super big and like, then this one is like nothing. Yeah, like where, see how that is? What is that? That's weird. Okay. So yeah, that might be better. And I might just do some collaging then on the top. Like, what is up? That printed terribly. Like, even this one's super tall and this one's super short. It was everything on that top row, right? What? Yeah, this one. Yeah, this just printed terrible. All different sizes. I don't understand how that happened. That's beside the point. All right. And then so I want to have the rating. So like if I do the ratings underneath it, right? Is that enough? So it would be here. And that way this side will have January. And then these will be together. Like so. So it's a little bit more manageable with the white space in there rather than these. So unfortunately, I probably may just toss these because I really don't need them. I'll probably just keep this one so that I can do my book review because I will write a review on that one. And the other one, you know, I'm torn. I really like this one a lot and I really like this one. So maybe for the sake of not throwing these out, I will do 4 mini reviews and have like 2 per page. So that'll be on the next flip. And just talk about them a little bit that way, because this, for me, like, don't get me wrong, this was really good too. This was really good too. So I did read a lot of good books this month. These two, this was terrible. That was absolute nothing to me. And this one was all right. Like, I don't see what the hype is about. Alrighty. So I'm going to put you on fast forward. We're going to make these into here. We're going to stamp out book goals and make my little shelf, and then we're going to do the January spread, and then I'm going to turn this page, and then we're going to do the book reviews for these 4 so I can just use them. And yeah, it'll be 4, so 2 spreads, and we'll have January complete. And that way, let me know if you always want me to update you in the future, meaning like for February and just do my monthly spread and then the book reviews. I can certainly do that, or at least maybe make them into Instagram reels, like smaller versions of video content. That way you can stay on top of it. But do follow me over on Instagram for this, especially for my books, because I'm always talking about the books I'm reading in my stories. Yeah, so if you're not following me there, it's Moments to Memories, period, by Ty. Follow me there. All right, so I pulled out, so I said I already had those. I pulled out these two stamps, so I'm going to do 2 different colors for that. And let's get making stuff. Okay, so let's get into making these pages, and let me know in the comments how you are liking the audio. This for the voiceover, I am actually on a complete microphone now. I've gotten new equipment for my YouTube channel, and I have a new camera to film on soon too. I just got to set up my tripod and stuff. Um, yeah, so just let me know that this is exciting. So right now I'm just going ahead and stamping the book goals, and I had to space that out quite right, and I liked the two-tone look of it. And then I had already penciled in where I want the shelves so that it gave about an inch, inch and a half for the books to be done. And this part does take a little bit of time, so believe me, put on an audiobook or watch your favorite show in order to create your bookshelf. Few tips that I've learned is that this G2 pen, though, when you're using it on a plastic ruler, tends to leave a little bit of like the residue behind. So I was constantly touching wet ink and then like the page, so it got a little sloppy, but you know, that's neither here nor there. I managed to make enough books for 70 on all 3.5 of these shelves, so that worked out great. And then you go ahead and erase your pencil lines, and it's a great visual representation of your goals. Then we're going to work on the January spread for the books that I had read. So I am using this lovely font that I love from Carrie Bradford. It's called Denali, and I am using, I would think it's Broken China oxide ink, and I go ahead and stamp out January. I start with the Y and work my way over. That way it was evenly spaced out once I kind of auditioned its placement. So once I have January set out, I thought the page was a little bit plain or not as much. And believe me, if you have stickers, you could have done decorative stickers. If you had washi tape, you can add washi tape. So once this is done, I go ahead and find another stamp set, even though I had that star one pulled from the Allie Edwards December Daily collection. But I had a Jane Davenport set that I have not used yet, and it's a big old flower with a couple of smaller blooms and then some sort of like foliage and almost like a baby's breath kind of stamp, and that one worked out perfectly. And I pull out a couple colored oxide inks just to keep all the colors soft because there was a lot of blues on my book covers, and just started doing a little bit of clustering like around the word January and then a little bit down below, just so that there was a little something to the background. Now don't get me wrong, what could have worked too, and I'm just thinking about it, so maybe for February you can use stencils like I did on the memory planner with and blend the oxide inks into it. That could work really well. But I think because I've been getting into stamping so much, that why not stamp some more? So you can see how I'm doing it. It's very random. It's getting a little bit to peek out behind the book covers. And of course you could have lined this up perfectly and placed it where you knew the book covers weren't. But I just kind of made a messy attempt at it all, which was just fine too. Then as I'm watching this footage with you, I remember going through this too. My couldn't find my ATG gun, so I was using like tearaway tape, which is fine, but this process takes forever with tearaway tape. And then I was using another Tombow one, but I couldn't find the refill. The tape situation was messy. I'm sure someone has gone through that once in a while too. So then once they're down, all I got to do is the ratings, and I have this little star stamp that I just keep on a block ready to use for this purpose all the time, and I just use black ink and stamp out the star ratings for each book, and then I just in the corner do audiobooks and then physical books, and that page wraps up. Okay, so I finished this up a little off camera simply because it was evening. I shut it down. So this is the next day of finishing up my reading journal. Is that a little slanted? I just glued that down too. I don't think so. Anyways, so let's flip through so you can see. So I did finish off to memorize. So I was going to do the reviews. And I'll talk about it as I went through. So I decided to make a cover page for the graphs you saw me make. So this paper is in that Hip Kit Club. And I thought it was so beautiful that I was thinking about using it for a layout, but I was like, no, let's just use it as its entirety meant to be. Cut this out on my Silhouette Cameo. This font is called Cupcake. And then I used stamps here. These were just from Michaels to stamp out the year. It's not perfect stamping, but I'm okay with it. Again, enjoying the stamping learning process. So then I have both those charts, and I did go ahead and fill out the books that I've read for January. And now I went back in, I told you to, and numbered it so that I can keep track without having to recount every single time. So there's enough for 75 books. My goal, if you recall, is 60. So we'll see how we do. You saw me do this page on the filming in these colors, and I did like it. What I didn't like and why I did it over was the markers that I used. These are some like adult coloring markers. I do have them in my stash, but they are streaky. But maybe that's a thing with these markers. I'm considering getting just Tombos that I use for this. I do have a few Tombos, but they're all, where did I put them? They're all colorful. Okay, they are. These colors are my Tombow collection so far. So I'm considering just getting like a 2 colored grays, or maybe like a gray, and then just use this like peachy toned to color it in. So I redid it, and then I also just considered to swap out the colors and leave it all black and white. What I also realized on this one is that I made these marks in just a Pilot G2, which is fine. But this smears when you go over it with markers. So when I did it again, I did it with a Sharpie pen, and that doesn't smear, even though you can see my touches, because I'm a sloppy stamper, you know, when it comes to this. I'm still learning. So this one is getting pitched. Just wanted to show, but it's the same thing. I just used black soot and weathered wood for my oxide inks, and then I just drew the books as well. I just altered, like staggered where they were a little bit differently, but again, just doing it as I listen to a book on tape or on audio. The back side, I don't know if I'm going to do anything. I might just put pattern paper, but it's there, it's done. Here's my January books I've read. This size does work better for reading 9 books a month. Now, if I ever read more than that, they might have to shrink down again. Again, I'm fine with the way it turned out right now. Then I went, and this is all kind of wonky, and I'm okay with that because that is using one of these little QB sets. And so it's really hard to see where you stamp. So I just did it really quickly. So it's a little wonky, but I actually kind of like the aesthetic of having that like that. So 3 were straight audio that I didn't have the physical book, and then the other 5 I read and listened to. That sort of works better for me. I'm a very auditory learner. So if I'm reading and have the audio, that's just kind of what I did to get through all of these as well. And then here is my review section. Love the way this turned out. Used pattern paper that was just a scrap on my desk to kind of fill up the area. And then the same stamp set, which was that Jane Davenport one that I used here, was also used here as filler and decoration so that there was less white space. Even though I should embrace white space, I'm anti-white space. And in doing this, what I'm also realizing is if it's a 5, because I feel like I'm just going to review 5-star rates for me, is 1, do the review as soon as I'm done with the book, because obviously I waited to the end, because since I just did the space as is, I surely had more to write per book, like especially with quotes, because I wanted to get 1 quote per book. I could have easily had 2 for this one, 2 for this one, and like 2 for this one. So I'm feeling that for my book reviews, I may need a page per book. But as I'm saying that, like I said, I'm just saying to do them as I rated a 5-star in February, to then write the review. That way I can have the space or designate it out for another one as well. I do like the size, so that size will stay consistent. And that will finish out my January book review. I also did a lot of stamping, as you can see. This one was completely wonky. This is what happens when you're doing it at night. And all I did was have it here. And so I didn't really like line up underneath overhead. This was me still sitting back here and going plonk, 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 because I definitely just did R, 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 R for all of them, E, E, E. That's wonky. It's fine. And then the gold ink here was the Ali Edwards one. I busted that out. So it's metallic here. It didn't stamp well here. Didn't stamp great here. It got better as I got. So this was the worst. This is when I did 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and then it got better. So that's how that got done. So yeah. So leave a comment below if you've enjoyed watching this process, because then obviously it'll be February and then the February reviews to show like how I go about it. But like I was saying too about doing the reviews live, I might maybe just make those little reels for Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, definitely follow me there, because in my stories, I usually keep you up to date on the books I am reading, just as like a little sweet little minute wrap up, nothing too extensive. So follow me there. But if you like to see this as a YouTube channel, as a YouTube video, let me know. If you'd like to see it as a short content, little something like a minute, I think is a reel on Instagram. That way you can follow me there. That works too, because I feel like it doesn't have to be a whole on video all the time, but just let me know your feedback down below. So this is what I'll be using for my reading journal this year. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and give this video a thumbs up. Till next time, my subbies, ta-ta!